Attendants are myself, Chair Donna D., Vice Chair Jim Johnston, Supervisors Dawn Dowling, Antia Consorto, and Nancy Wittes. Also in attendance are the Township Solicitor Guy Donatelli, Township Operation Manager Jeff Eastburn, Township Control and Office Manager Melissa, yes, she's here, and Township Secretary Stacy House. How many members of the House? 8 members of the public are here. And let's stand for pledge allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. All right. So before we start today's meetings with the public comments, I just want to read just an announcement based on some public comments we've heard at previous meetings. I'd like to take this opportunity to respond to some of the things that were said. So on April 6th, Board of Supervisor workshop meeting and the April 15th board meeting, a resident at each meeting commented that the erosion and sedimentation agriculture plan created by Chester County Conservation District failed to consider the stream located in the preserve as part of the plan, and also incorrectly stated that the stream was going through the field considered for farming. On May 4th, Jeff, Jim, and I met with a member of the Chester County Conservation District, and we asked them if the stream was considered. In their evaluation of the plan, the members responded that the stream was considered, and it was concluded that the proposed farming activity, as described in the plan, would not impact the stream. He also said that our proposed MS4 project and the farming initiative could have coexisted with one another. It was noted that the stream at its closest point is about 50 feet from the area considered for farming, and there is vegetation between the field and the stream, which actually helps improve any type of runoff. We also learned from this gentleman that the regulation of application of nutrients such as nitrogen-based fertilizer is regulated by the PA Department of Agriculture. And Franklin Township received correspondence on April 22nd from the PA Department of Agriculture, which stated that the PA Department of Agriculture has reviewed a complaint regarding the application of nitrogen-based fertilizer and they called it Meadowlands, located in Franklin Preserve. An investigation confirmed that the nitrogen-based fertilizer was applied within the setbacks established by the PA fertilizer law. It was determined by this particular agency that no violation of the PA fertilizer law occurred. So I just wanted to close those two things out in terms of the stream itself and also the nitrogen-based fertilizer. I don't argue the fact that we should have been told about it, but in terms of breaking some PA law, that did not happen. And my second thing, and I'm glad that we have residents here, but it's just important that folks remember that discussions will take place later in this meeting about the fire companies and how we are going to provide governance for these fire companies in the future. So right now, there's ongoing discussions among 10 municipalities on the best way to provide governance for these fire companies. These discussions, depending on how they go, could impact the way Franklin Township residents pay for these services. I will continue to share updates of these meetings with Franklin Township residents at our monthly board meetings, and I'll do that today. I also plan to work with Jeff to create an area within the Franklin Township website that assembles the latest available information in one place for residents to access. And I'll start working on that today, and hopefully we'll have it up by the next meeting. But I'll just, I talked to we met, when did we meet here, last week?
Last Tuesday.
So we met last Tuesday, and I did bring up with the group, with the municipalities, should we be making these meetings public? It is, this is a significant amount of money and how we're going to be governing them in the future. And it was really united feedback saying, no, we want to keep it the way it is. And it's going to be up to the townships to bring this information to their residents at board meetings. Now, you guys are great about coming to board meetings, but there's still so many more people that we need to reach. So hopefully they'll see the YouTube stuff, but also we'll do the website and we'll put something in the Facebook to make sure that people know about it. Okay, that's really all I have right now. So now let me open the floor for public comments. I'll read my little note. The board welcomes public comments relating to tonight's action items on the agenda. Commenters must state your name and whether you're a resident of the township or a non-resident taxpayer in the township. If you do not identify yourself, your comments will not be included in the official minutes. Each resident or non-resident will have one opportunity to make a public comment on an action item. Comments should be directed to the board and not an individual board member or member of the staff. The board will refrain from addressing your comments as they are being expressed, but instead, at their discretion, may comment at the end of the public comment session or at a time later, at the time the action item is discussed. Our silence should not be viewed as an agreement with what is being said. All right, so let me open the floor. Go ahead, Nancy.
I have a document I want to enter into the minutes. This is
Nancy, just say who you are.
Nancy Morris, Township President. Thank you. This is regarding MS4. As we embark on the $1 million plus effort to address our MS4 requirements in Franklin Township, an effort that will see our taxes double, if not triple, over the years, I would like to encourage the township to make a formal connection to the Stroud Clean Water Organization located here in Chester County. Stroud is a world-renowned nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to improve the water quality in all communities, particularly those in Chester County. With an office in Avondale and excellent relationships across PA, including with DEP and DCNR, Stroud is an amazing resource that we have in our backyard, and we should be partnering with them to at least discuss our MS4 requirements to ensure that we can have them met in the most financially and environmentally appropriate manner possible. As I look at the work we did with Pannoni Consulting, two concerns stood out. First, we did engage one of the most expensive consulting firms in this area. Was it the right one for our size and our budget? We should have sought insight from Stroud before spending tens of thousands of dollars with Pannoni. Second, Stroud would have provided an assessment of how much work they could do for free, not after the work is done, but before, because Stroud provides grants every year in the tens of thousands and millions of dollars. They also could have addressed our grant writing because I did look it up, it was $10K on grant writing by Pannoni. They're experts and they have excellent relationships with DEP. There is no one more expert than the people at Stroud. The proposed $1 million contract begs the question, is this the best use of taxpayer funds? I see there's $800K in the contract for stream restoration work. Who will do this work? Will we be paying $50 an hour? Is this the best approach? We just had a belly gusher with all of that stream restoration work washed away. Is 1.1 million an appropriate amount to spend? Will the work be stormproof? Other townships have had great success working with Stroud. Has our township reached out to anyone for their insights? One thing to remember is that Pannoni's number one obligation is to their shareholders. So that's all about money. Now, they want to be successful, but ultimately they need to make money. Stroud's number one obligation is to the community. They're a nonprofit. Their goal is clean water. So every dollar we spend with Pannoni and every contractor we engage, we have to think about what's their priority versus what's Stroud's priority. For the sake of our wallets and the environment, I strongly encourage the Board of Supervisors to hold a public meeting to address these concerns and include Stroud so we can really all be on board about embarking on a very costly, potentially risky work that our township can't necessarily afford. There are a lot of people in this township who cannot afford doubling their taxes, and we can't be sure we're going to get grants for the 1.1 million. So we're taking on a dangerous adventure at our taxpayers' cost. So I'd encourage you to think about that. Like I said just at the beginning, I'll enter this for the minutes, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. Any other public comments? All right. So now let's move on to the approval of minutes. So I'm going to make a motion that the board approve the April 6, 2026 Board of Supervisors Workshop meeting minutes. Have a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, okay, Jim. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. I make a motion that the board approve the April 15, 2026 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. I have a second for that? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, Jim, over to you.
Okay, Melissa Ortega is here to give the treasurer's report.
The April 2026 Treasurer's Report includes the following disbursements. The general fund with disbursements and transfers of $57,111.16. The Park and Rec Fund with disbursements of $2,019.16. The Open Space Fund with disbursements of $4,800.08. The Capital Reserve Fund with disbursements of $0. The Emergency Services Fund with disbursements of $0. The Fire Hydrant Fund with disbursements of $590.90. And the Wastewater Treatment Plant Fund with disbursements of 5 cents, leaving a balance in all funds $3,660,421.48.
Okay, Melissa, I'll make a motion that the board approve the April 2026 treasury report as presented. Do I have a second? Okay, thanks, Nancy. Any discussion?
Yes, what was the 5 cents for? What was the 5 cents for?
Because Pliget accidentally put in a deposit to our account by mistake. So when they withdrew it, we had to pay the 5 cents in interest it gained.
Oh, my God.
So it's an accounting nightmare, but you have to account for it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Melissa's also here to give a Lexington Point sewer billing update.
So for the first billing cycle for Q2 payments, we have 9 vacant houses. We've collected payments. There's 6 unpaid, which includes one of the original 5 houses of my hot list for the collections. Q3, we had 1 person who paid and 1 person overpaid by $10 for Q2.
Had there been any communication with the one person?
No, not yet. I just gained their phone number today, so I'll be giving them a call.
But Melissa, you have set up I mean, I've read the letter. You put a pretty direct letter to folks that haven't paid. I mean, very nice. Like,
Yeah.
Not, well, I wouldn't say nice, very, very direct in terms of you need to do this and you need to do it now.
Correct. So a second notice went out to 7 houses last Friday, explaining that this is now considered, it's late. And it's the second notice for payment. And the township's trying to work with everybody, so we're not charging late fees. And it's a working, like I'm learning, they're learning, and trying to get everybody in sync. So out of that, 2 people have paid since that notice went out on Friday,
And just for clarity, the original due date was April 30th?
April 30th.
Okay, thanks. All right, thank you.
It was excellent news. You're doing well. I didn't know how it was going to play, but that's really good.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Sorry about that. Zoning report, April 2026. In the month of April 2026, 7 permits were issued. $1,689.20 in permit fees were collected, and 26 inspections were performed.
Planning Commission report, we did not have a meeting this month, so there is no report.
Okay, the Franklin Township Interim Road project, the bid award is, this bid was advertised on the website and in the daily local news in their April 23rd, 2026 and April 27th, 2026 editions. On May 11th, we received a single bid submitted by Yardworks, Inc., which is recommended to the board for approval. I'll read the actual motion because we talked about this, I think, last month. I make a motion to award the 2026 Franklin Township Interim Road Project B to bid to Yardworks, Inc., based on the requirements that this company submit their insurance certificate and performance bond. Do I have a second? Thanks, Donna. Any discussion?
Yeah, I was so Jeff, could you just for the residents say when we say the interim road program, we're not talking about, ripping up roads and putting down asphalt, which is maybe just quickly characterize what we are talking about.
It could be anything from roadside ditching to patching to road signs to putting in culvert pipes, items like that. And if you don't mind me adding, Donna, the pricing for this bid, for every item is what it was in the previous one. So there's no raises from the contractor.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the Woods Edge Development Extension Letter from September 30th, 2026. So I make a motion to accept the Beaver Hill Realty Woods Edge Development Extension Letter dated May 13th, 2026. This extends the land development application time period for the Woods Edge Development Project until September 30th, 2026. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jim. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
All right, it's time for the solicitor's report. Guy Donatelli.
Thank you. I don't have anything to report. The major issues have been resolved, and I'm just working through with staff some of our knitting. I would just say, getting some things in order. I'm working with Melissa on a couple things and with Jeff on a couple things, but you're not keeping me very busy, which is a good thing.
Thank you.
Well, I would like to introduce my good friend David Payne, and he can give us just a little update on some of the trouble we're getting in together.
Good evening. For those of you who may not know me, I'm David Payne. I'm the director of the Avon Grove Library. As I enter my fourth summer as director, we have enjoyed an increasingly fruitful relationship with the township, and in particularly activities in Crossan Park. And as Dawn said, we have been talking away since the depths of winter. And now that we are about to enter our busiest season, I really wanted to take a few minutes just to update you on some of the things that we're doing, and very happy to do and very excited to do as well. Firstly, the return of Storytime in the Park. As you may know, this is our annual summertime Storytime in the parks, where we go every week to the very lovely parks in our funding communities. We'll be at Crossan Park 6 times this summer. 5 times in July and closing at the end of September. Last year, our Storytime in the Park attendances were the highest, I think, on record. And so we're looking forward to another bumper year as well this year. And also, I wanted to talk to you a bit about an exciting program which we're very much looking forward to, which is called Art in the Park. This program originated from an idea I had, in the same way that we are able to bring out community members to enjoy our wonderful open spaces for story time. You know, we've got some really wonderful parks around us. And I had this idea of bringing art to the community through our landscapes, through nature. And I had no idea what I could do with it, but we were lucky enough to find and partner with a local artist, Rachel Broadbent, who is a Landenberg resident, and she's generously leading our programs. And we have a total of 8 programs lined up in the spring and the fall, which will take place in our parks. Each one will have a different art theme. And we are having a program here on June the 27th, which will be all about cyanotype sun printing, at which the participants will explore the various trails in the park. They will use natural materials such as sticks, leaves, stones, and so on to create the artwork, after which we hope to display it at the library. In the fall, we are planning to have another activity at the Bamshire Preserve. This will be slightly different. This will be involving sort of land art and sculpture, where participants will use the same natural materials to create sculptures around the park. It's a great opportunity for local residents to enjoy artwork, learn about the parks, learn about different forms of art without charge. So we're very much looking forward to that. It's in essence, a pilot year. We're hoping to expand it next year, but we're very excited to get this underway. And again, to use the wonderful resources at Crossland Park.
David, are the sculptures going to remain like at Bamshire? Would they remain there?
That's the plan.
Okay,
That's the
yeah,
plan.
yeah.
That's the plan.
There's a little gnome village there right now.
What are the age groups? Can you,
Family. It's a family
it's
activity.
a family, wow.
Yeah, yeah. We have to really, obviously it costs quite a bit in terms of materials. So this year, being a pilot year, we had to limit the number of spaces at 20, but next year we hope to raise it quite significantly. I also wanted to mention a couple of other things which Dawn and I have been talking about, which I'm sure she will talk more. One is our program we hope, with the Chester County Astronomy Society. Yeah. As you may know, we have a telescope to loan. You have the lovely resources at the park. So we're hoping to work with the society to have a observation day here or night, at which we will bring our telescope, and the club will bring their telescopes, and we'll introduce people to the wonderful world of astronomy. We also have had discussions with Ruth Ann Purchase about doing a Lenape Indian program. So again, Dawn will update you more on that. So a lot going on. I will mention a couple of other things, if I may. We're coming into our busiest summer reading season. I will just say it's a common misconception that summer reading is just for children. It isn't. Last year, we had about an 80% increase in adult participation in summer reading. So we encourage everybody in the community to check us out for that. And I know on the agenda later on, you're talking about the America 250 celebrations. We've been busy planning our Chester County America 250 celebrations. And we have a brochure, which we have at this point 9 activities coming up between now and September to celebrate. You absolutely, I'll give you this. Yeah, no, I've got plenty more. There are plenty more, and I can send some to the office here. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
David, where are the other things that you mentioned posted? Are they going to be on our website?
I can give it to you for the website. They'll be on our website. They'll be on our social media, and they will be in our e-newsletter, which goes out at the beginning of every month.
And he has a direct line right to Stacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, we have flyers in the library as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So with that said, I just want to make sure that everybody knows how much work goes into producing all these programs, because David and I have spent quality time together, like he said, since the winter. And we've had at least 2 or 3 meetings on each of these programs. And then we have to meet with the people that are going to do these programs. But we are right to the edge of making dates. So we are right now where we started we kicked off story time. And the reason I went to the first story time at the library, I gave a little talk at the library because it's all about gardens this year. So we are very happy. And we started out with a really wonderful garden book. So that's the garden book that we can use at some of the story times at the park. And then the kids can come over and see the garden. And then the 5 story times he talked about were in July. The one in September, the last one we do, is all about music. And that is absolutely adorable. Nancy, I think did you come to that one? You came to one of them. It was music, and they do songs, and they do the big parachute, And they do, and it's fabulous. It's absolutely, and there were 36, I mean, it was packed. It was a packed house for that one. And I was tickled to death with this. And this art in the park, I can't be happier about, because that's going to be so much fun. And what we're trying to do is David and I are trying to figure out things for older kids as well, and family things as well. So we're really working on that. And he forked up Don Miller, who is the head of the astronomy club, and he's quite a character. And guess who? Stefan has a big telescope. He's all excited about it. Our Stefan, which this one called Stefan immediately because he knew Stefan had the big telescope. Stefan's all excited about coming and bringing his telescope. And I have a neighbor, Charles McLaren, who's a chemist for DuPont, and he also is a huge astronomer. He has all his own telescopes. And Don said, well, do you want the day program or the night program? I said, both. So he has a guy from that's retired from NASA that has a sun telescope, the solar telescope. So that we're going to try to do on a Saturday so that families can come. And this guy comes and brings all the information we can set up in the pavilion to talk to the kids about and talk to the families about, and do the sun scope. And then we're going to set up something later with his club to do an evening one. He came out and met with Jeff and I already. He scoped out the park. We took him out and showed him the park. So that is very, very exciting. And then Ruth Ann, who I had found, I met with Ruth Ann at the park, but then I had to get Ruth Ann over to the library. So Ruth Ann has now been over to the library, and we're talking about doing her first program at the library as an introduction, and then moving out into coming and doing things at the park. And she's all excited about that. And then the two things that we're working on, I haven't let citizen science die yet. And what I want to do with citizen science this year is I hope to do a bird program. I told you about this with the hawk and tri-state bird rescue. Whether I can get that all together, as you all know, I've been sick for 2 weeks, so I'm a little behind on all my homework. But that's my dream for citizen science. However, with the bridge work that got completed by Troop 18. Now, Troop 18 is the Boy Scouts that did the bridge. What do we call that bridge? Jeff, what do we call?
Calling it the Franklin Preserve.
Franklin.
It kind of closes the gap between Crossan and Franklin Preserve.
And if anybody saw the pictures of that bridge, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I hope you guys know that those kids are part of Matt Thompson's Hellbenders and Velomio. And they have a work party planned. They were supposed to meet tonight, but it rained. Now they're going to do it next week. They have a work party and pizza party planned. And see, I don't think you guys hear all this. So the bike club, they go out and work on trails with Matt for their bike club. And then they're going to have a pre-season fun ride June 17th. So we have a art in the park in June. We have a fun bike ride June 17th from 6 to 7. And it's for people to come out and try mountain biking. And this is stuff, one of the things that David and I are trying together is when we do a program, Ruth Ann gave us a whole list of the books that she considered good for children and adults about the Lenape Indians. So they went and they bought them. So now we have a reading list that goes with the program, and it's going to be the same thing for the astronomical. We're going to have different books and reading lists that go with all these programs. And the garden, I can put garden things out in the little library. And so all of it ties into, and that brings me back to I'm still working the next project I want for the Boy Scouts, and Troop 18 and my little Joey, who's currently working on the bat boxes, and he is currently working on them. And Shannon, who used to work at the library, has a program about bats for children. And then this one's brother, Chris, knew all about bats for adults. So I'm hoping to have, when we get the bat boxes up in the fall, I want to have a bat program. And Chris has already said he's going to help take down the old ones, and he's going to ask Jeff where to put all the wood and stuff from the old boxes. And then the next thing I want to try is to get that story trail up in the park. David wants a story trail in every park. That's his dream, to have a story trail in every park. So, and then we did the wonderful gardeners, the master gardeners. Again, we met with them 3 times. And we already had our first Wake Up the Garden. It was very popular. I had a lot of people come. We did a lot of work. We were going to go back and do work, but we got sick, so we haven't gone back. But with that said, I talked to Amy about the bluebirds. She was at the park with us, so the bluebirds are started, and she's already monitoring the bluebird boxes. And then I have good news about Dale Hendricks already has given the seeds, and the bluebells are already spread. But it's a secret. And the reason it's a secret is because there's a certain area down by Old Post Road that they are really working on, and they don't want people to go down there walking in the bluebell seeds. So that has been done, I'm happy to report. And then the Wake Up the bee program, we found a woman that does native bees, and that's going to be on June 20th, Saturday, June 20th. And at Easter, I told you I found a Girl Scout troop. They're going to be invited to the bee tea. And we also have the Oxford Garden Club that's interested in coming to the BET. And then the fall program is going to be with Nancy and the 250th. Now, I'm not committing to an herb table. I'm committing to a plant swap, And what I think we'll do is we will have tours of the garden by the master gardeners, and then we will think up some kind of program, but I'm not sure, but I'm sure there will be tours of the garden, and we can tell them about the plants. And then the 2 other things that are still on my list of my wish list is the yoga in the park and the plein air painting, but I'll still work on that. So with that said, there was a lot of work put into all these programs this year, but we are burning it up.
Similar to what Jim had asked before, is we're getting these now, I know that everything hasn't have a date, but you have a lot of dates. Are we getting them on the website?
Yep.
Okay,
And
so Stacy,
Stacy and I, once I get better, we'll be over here with all my dates, and we'll
Right.
make our flyers. And
good.
yeah, I told Don Miller I'd know by tomorrow or Friday for dates for the astronomical stuff.
I don't know how you're gonna take this, but just, I don't want you to take it easy, you've got so much going on. If you don't get, I think they're all great, but I just worry about your health. So just, this is all, if you just do this and nothing else, this is amazing, amazing.
Well, it's never been done before. So that's what I love. It's never been done before. And it's a new thing for Crossan Park. It's a new thing to enjoy Crossan Park. And I will tell you, Don Miller, he answered me the next day. We're in, we love it. It's an underused resource of just fabulous stuff for families and kids. Mhm.
Can I add 2 positive things very quickly? A shout out to Bob Magnus, Matt Thompson, Mr. Shaw, and there are some other individuals. I'm sorry, I forgot their names. They have started working on that Banffshire crossing that had washed out late last year. And then there is another bridge further up that they will be redecking, but they've done some preliminary work. Mr. Shaw was very helpful in getting telephone poles that I was able to get donated for the bridge in place. So we are working on that. It's going in the right direction.
That's amazing. It's just amazing. Good job.
And there was a plan for that bridge this Saturday, but doesn't look too good for weather. Yeah.
It's been accomplished. I mean, like you said, the Boy Scout Bridge is amazing. What a wonderful accomplishment. And I see, just like, I know you have your gentleman was Joey on the bat boxes. And I think you have a new way of working with the Boy Scouts that seems to be more directed and focused and you're producing. And I think it's good for everybody, it's excellent.
And I mean, I keep getting more and more ideas on what to put. I mean, I want to do Kestrel boxes and all this stuff, but the more we talk to the Boy Scouts, the more ideas, because the Boy Scouts can come with ideas. They don't have to pick off our list. They can come with and give us an idea as well. So we've got a lot of up and coming locals right now that could really, really, and it's free labor.
Haven't heard you say anything about I need $1,000. You've been coming out with these projects and
We're supporting each other.
right.
We make the library look good. The library makes us look good because we're all working together on building our resources. And if he has the telescope and he has the backpacks and he has the stuff and they can bring them and use them at the park, it's a win-win.
Doing it. So it's down to me. All right. So my stuff isn't as much fun. All right. So, but it is important. Jeff, can you put the slides up? So, as I said, earlier, we are meeting, municipalities are meeting, and they're not public meetings, they're just meetings with the municipalities themselves, to talk about what's going on with the fire company. I know the board knows because you agreed to it last year that they are consolidating. And based on that consolidation, we're looking at some governance models, like how do we work with them to make sure that we have input into their budget, because their budget affects the money that we need to contribute to it. So let me just start. So this is just want to give you an update. Next slide. I just wanted to go back for just to give you some background, because I know we talk about a lot of things. And once again, it's our West Grove and Avondale Fire Companies that are consolidating. Their new name is the Southern Chester County Fire Rescue. So if you see that term, it's new. So you may not even see it like if you Google it, you probably won't get anything because they're still it's being put together. This is what they're working on, and it'll probably take them the rest of this year to make that happen. And as I said at previous meetings, four meetings had been scheduled. Two have already been completed. And based on our last meeting, and then Tia and I are going to represent Franklin Township. I thought it was a very good meeting, and because the municipality is starting to ask questions, and we came to the conclusion that we're going to need more meetings. And so I thought that was a really good decision, because we want to get into some of the details so that we do make a very good decision. And when I say a decision, what I see coming out of these meetings is a proposal that the majority of the municipalities can support, and then it comes back to you. It comes back to the residents, and we can figure out how we make that happen. Like I said, we'll have the website, but there will be a board meeting where we can talk about it. And then we talk as a board, and then decide which one we want to support. So there's still a lot of work to do. We're, like I said, asking a lot of good questions, and like I said, I'll keep updating you. But the good news is we're going to have some additional meetings, which I think I felt like we were being pushed into a certain direction. I think we're going to explore things a little bit more. So let me go to the next slide. Jeff, are you able to make it bigger? I don't know if can you do presentation mode? I know I have my slides in front of me, but I don't know if anybody else can see what's going on. Oh, you don't have it? Okay, it used to be a little. Wow.
There's a plus minus, I think, on the bottom right, see the magnifying glass.
The board has these slides in there, but it must be hard for everybody else to see. It will be on the website. I mean, we'll have it. That's better, right? Okay. So just once again, this. Yeah, yeah, all the time, right? Yeah. So I just want to remind you, there are four models that we're looking at. One is, and I'll just briefly go through them. The first, just to remind you, the first one is the status quo model. So it's doing what we're doing now, which is we have the fire company remains a private, independent, nonprofit organization. We, the municipalities, fund the fire companies based on the current funding model. It comes out of our real estate tax. And then, what was going to say? And, kind of missed my point. And we are autonomous, so we can make a decision by ourselves to say, we're not going to give you X amount of dollars. We're going to give you this amount of money. So there is an autonomy that comes along with the status quo model. To a certain, well, you can always say no, right? Yeah. I wouldn't want to say, yeah, but you can always say no. The second one, I mean, we did it last year. Yeah, so it can be done. The second one is a model that I put forth to the group, and it's called the enhanced status quo model. And what this does, it requires the municipalities to agree to participate in a joint board of oversight, but still maintain autonomy. So there's not really a contract per se that someone has to sign on the dotted line and says, I have to follow what the majority says. So you still have your autonomy, but we are participating as a joint board. We bring the fire company in. They come present to us one time. They don't have to go around to 10 different fire companies. We still fund the fire companies on the current model, but what it does is it increases the transparency between what their budget is. My proposal is to meet with them quarterly. I want to, request is for a detailed budget, very similar to what Melissa produces for the township, and that we have a give and take, that we look at the budget, we ask a lot of questions, we ask for changes, they respond to those changes. And that the fourth quarter meeting, the meeting at the end of the year, would be the one where we have a good sense of what's coming the following year. And we should have a good sense through the whole year what's going to be coming in the following year. We're going to talk about pros and cons for that, but that's the enhanced status quo model. So it's still very much the fire companies are private, independent, and it really relies on goodwill between the municipalities and the fire companies and how they work together. The third model is called the commission or district model, and there is an actual agreement. It's actually something that both parties, well, all the 10 municipalities and the fire companies would need to sign. It forms a joint board or of oversight. One of the district models I've looked at, the one in Kennett, I think I got it right, has the board, the commission is responsible for the budget. So it takes the budget, managing the budget away from the fire companies, in the sense that the commission does it. Of course, they're doing it in collaboration with the fire companies, but the onus is on the municipalities to the commission, which is made up of the municipalities, to manage that budget. So I said, it allows us to collaboratively set the budget, but there is a contract for both of us, both parties have to sign. The last one, and we've talked a little bit about this before, is the municipal authority model. And this one is an actual separate legal organization. You're creating a new body that will oversee the fire company. And this authority has the ability to own the assets of the fire company. And once again, it goes into, there'll be a governance board, there'll be some kind, this is what we're trying to get our arms around. What is it that has to be created in order to manage, to make up an authority? You need a lawyer, you need a fire chief, you need an administrator, you need a finance person. What does that look like? And that's what we want to see the next time we come back. The big difference, and I want to make sure that the public is aware of this, is that the funding moves from a tax-based model, which is what we have now. The funding for the fire companies comes out of the real estate tax, and it becomes a fee schedule based on benefit of service. So like you'd have residential dwellings would have a certain fee. Commercial, industrial dwellings or buildings would have a certain fee. Agriculture would have a certain fee. That all has to be worked out. Does a little house pay as much as a big house? Does a big commercial? That has to be worked out, but it's just different. And currently in our status quo model, if you don't pay real estate taxes, which some nonprofits don't, churches, hospitals, schools, you're not paying for fire service. So that's another difference, that these folks, there would be a way to charge them a fee. So that's if I just give you a general overview.
And
The authority
the
would.
authority would bill, it
Right.
would come out of the tax bill Oh,
So what would, in a perfect world, what would happen is we would reduce our real estate taxes for the amount of money that we are currently paying for a fire, right? That would go back to the taxpayers. But the taxpayers would get a separate bill. And I would be curious, I mean, send me an email or send Jeff an email. How do people feel about that? And I think there's pros and cons, but good to hear. Is this like, oh my God, don't do this, or maybe this?
That gives the authority, they can raise it at any point and we have no control over what they charge.
Not necessarily, no, not, I mean, that's a no. So the authority there will be a board that'll be made up of, we have to figure out how that is, but so representatives from the townships will be part of the board. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't necessarily be a board member or staff, we don't know that, we have to talk about that. But there will be, that input is important. And we still haven't figured all this out. I'm assuming it would be a majority decision. So say you have the 10 municipalities together and 6 of them said, yes, we want to increase the rate by X amount. We believe that makes sense. That would have to be followed by everybody.
Right.
Go ahead, guys, continue.
So they also said if the authority decides they want to raise rates, the way they do that is they absolutely positively have to show in the budget why they need to raise the rate. If they can't prove that they need that money for X, Y, and Z, then they're not allowed to raise the rates. So there is a little bit of protection, and the people voting on raising it are whoever the municipalities have on that authority to vote. So
And there also will need to be a public meeting where this is discussed.
So we're not giving up complete control.
No, I think the difference, and I want to try to be as factual as I can and not, because there's no obvious answer yet right now, because we still need to get more information. But trying to, the big difference is you can't say Franklin Township's not paying, or Franklin Township, you're going to be a group. And there's there's good and bad with that, right? There's power in being a group. But you have to realize your decision is with the group.
But I mean, the authority model also should be looked at as a utility. So it's just like you would pay your PICO bill every month. You're going to get a bill from the authority for your fire every month or every quarter, however they decide to bill it. So it's more like a utility than it is, it's a fee, it's not a tax.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we don't have the money coming to the township. It's going directly to the authority, and the authority is handling all of that. So we don't have any control over that anymore.
All right, so let me move on. So that was just we can have some more discussion. I just want to go through some more takeaways. So we did have that April 14th meeting, and I just want to review with us, the board and the people that are listening, some of the takeaways. And these are my takeaways. So this is something that I, from my understanding of the meeting, and so I'd love to hear what Antia thinks once I get through them. So one is the group, all the municipalities sitting around the table agree that the fire company and the EMTs are providing a good level of service. And we would like to maintain at least that level of service going forward. And I thought that was a real positive, because I think if we were at a place where we're saying, oh my God, the service is awful, we really gotta do something, I think the way we view this might be a little bit different. So I thought that was a good finding, and it was universal. The second point was that we all agreed that the fire companies are transitioning from a volunteer force to a paid force, and that this will continue. Well, we don't know. It's just an unknown. We don't know how fast this is going to happen, but it's just a reality. And it's not just here in Franklin Township or in Chester County. It's throughout the country. So that was the second point. We also agreed that there's a greater transparency is needed with the emergency service budget. So when we met as the municipalities, it was clear some folks were just totally frustrated. Some municipalities saying, "I've asked the fire companies for a budget. I've asked them over and over again, and I'm not seeing it. Or I am seeing something, but it's so nebulous. I have no idea what they're talking about." So there was a definite need for something more detailed and something that can actually provide some background to why these increases are needed. So, and that, like I said, that was that transparency. We're not getting it now, I think, is my message to you. And I think that puts a little bit of can we do the enhanced status quo if we're not getting what we need right now? And based on that, it was suggested that a professional finance person would probably be needed, no matter what model we decided to pick. At the very least, we're probably going to need a professional finance person that will have to either be hired by the fire companies or hired by the authority, whoever, to prepare a budget, because right now the fire company themselves don't seem to have that they have volunteers that are working on it, but don't seem to have the folks that can do the type of level of detail and work that we want. So that was another bullet point. It was not clear if the consolidated fire company can or would deliver the level of transparency on their own. That kind of feeds back into the professional finance person and just whether they have the will to do it. As we evaluate the governance models, I continue to suggest that we get into more detail of what these models can deliver, how much, what is the best model that we can have without increasing administrative costs beyond what is necessary. So I think it's a balancing act. We know that the budgets are going to increase. We know that there's going to be a cost to putting some of these models in place, whether it's the commission model, definitely the authority model, there'll be some cost. But how's that balance out with what kind of additional cost perhaps we can pick up with the fee model or other models that we're going to do. So it's really understanding what the benefit costs are of doing some of this stuff. And as I said, for the next meeting, I requested a presentation of the administrative structures of these committees so we can look at it. Okay, so that was the 14th. We came in and we met on the 12th. And once again, it was a continuation of discussion, but I think we got down into some more detail. And these, I'm sorry, let me step back.
You're okay.
Oh, wait, you okay? Okay. And so so May 12th, we got, once again, start to get into the conversation about structure, cost, and finished up towards the end of the meeting in terms of pros and cons, with an understanding from the folks that were at the meeting, we need more detail. So, and that's going to be the purpose of the next meeting, to get more detail on what the structure, the commission model, and the authority model are. Oh, yeah, next one, I'm sorry. And so, these are my impressions of the pros and cons, and I promise I'll give you a chance to talk. Okay. So the first one is the status quo model is kind of off the table. I think folks realize that based on what we're doing right now is not good enough. We're not getting the kind of information and detail that we need from the fire companies right now. We need something more, and we need to have some commitment on their part to provide this information. So from a pro perspective, an enhanced status quo model would have minimal additional cost. It can go into effect immediately because we're not creating any kind of legal structure. The assets remain with the fire company and the municipalities maintain their autonomy. The con is it relies on the fire companies to provide these quarterly budgets and then agree to collaborate with the municipalities to change the budgets based on the feedback. This was a big thing that came up in the meeting. The key worry that I hear with the status quo and enhanced status quo is that the fire companies and some of the other municipalities view it as an unreliable funding mechanism. Remember, I keep on talking about this autonomy. Well, the autonomy can also become a con, because if the fire companies can't count on all the municipalities paying the requested funds, just put yourself in their place, right? You have this budget process, you go through it. We all agree, okay, that makes sense. And then a municipality says, well, I'm not paying. That just blows everything up. So it becomes, so somebody else has to make up the difference. And so it's unreliable is a big con. And real estate taxes were like, I don't want anybody to think that regardless of what model's picked, costs are going up. So either you're going to do it through real estate taxes going up, or you're going to do it through fees that will go up. I think that's just the reality. All right, so that's the enhanced. Do you want to say anything about enhanced? No, you're okay. I'm with you. Okay. The second model is the commission model. That's what I talked about. Remember that the municipalities would form a group, and that group would manage the fire company budget. We probably have to hire some paid staff to do that. There is an agreement, but it's not as much. I look at the authority model as you take it off and make it an independent body. That the assets remain with the fire company. There's an agreement to formalize the municipality participation. There's agreement to formalize the fire company participation in providing that and working with us to provide the budget. But it's not as formal as the authority model. And a con would be the time required by municipalities to participate in that governing board. It's not like people aren't busy now, but you would really have to get yourself involved. Whoever we decide would participate in that model from the township, it's going to take time and effort, to put it together and also to participate with the government board. At the very least, you're going to have some paid staff. I would think that finance person, at the very least, there may be some additional folks that would need to be hired. The real estate taxes, even though you pay for your fire service through real estate taxes, it's still going to be likely to be increased because it's going to come that way. We're not going to go with a fee with a commission model. And the decisions will be made by the majority of the board. You have anything? Okay. And then, as I said before, the authority model, the pro about the authority model, and I think this is the one that's driving folks, is it provides a stable funding source. There's a fee that is billed to to whether it's a resident or I don't know what the right word is, but entity, I don't know. It could be a commercial building, it could be a farm, it could be a school, it could be a hospital, right? There's a bill going to them. The authority would manage that. So it's not like Melissa has to set up a whole new billing situation in order to bring this money in. And it's working that in terms of getting that money. And they would also be dealing with if people didn't pay the fee, working with that. That would all come through the authority. Additional funding is possible. They talked a little bit at the last meeting about commercial sources. And I want to hear what you have to say. I get the sense that they believe that with this model, you could probably ask the commercial sources to pay more than what they're paying now. It's a balancing act. Do you want to comment on that?
So the commercial sources at this point, unless they're paying real estate tax, aren't paying anything in to the fire company anyway. With the authority model, everyone, regardless of whether they pay taxes or not, have to pay this fee. So like they said before, a lot of commercial entities and the churches and the schools and hospitals, things that may not be paying the taxes will have to pay into this. For me, the con is if you have a lot of commercial businesses coming into the area and now suddenly they have to pay a fee that they've never had to pay before, but they can move over the line to Delaware and not have to pay that fee, are we going to lose businesses?
Right.
Because of that?
And do we even have a lot in the first place?
So not for Franklin Township.
Right.
But if you look at the 10 municipalities that are involved in this, you have New Garden, you have Lennon Grove, and what was the third one? I want to say Penn, but well, West Grove doesn't have as much as you think. It was more 3 big townships. It was Lennon Grove, New Garden, and I think it was Penn Township that had all the majority of the businesses and other.
Avondale?
They don't have very much.
Avondale doesn't have very much either. They're primarily residential. You're looking at,
And Westmore.
so West Marlboro only pays a portion because they only get their EMS, they don't get fire. So their fees would be smaller. But you're looking at those 3 larger municipalities that have a lot of businesses. They have the schools, they have the hospital, they have more nonprofits like churches. So all of those entities would now have to pay a fee. And because their fees would technically be larger than what a resident would have to pay, it could decrease the cost to residents. But the concern is driving away businesses that won't have to pay that if they go somewhere else.
Jim, you make a really good point because at least I'm used to looking at Franklin Township, right? What does Franklin Township have? We would no longer be Franklin. I mean, we no longer view it that way. It would be the 10 of us. It would be the authority would be all of us. And so any positives a London Grove or a New London or whatever gives, we all benefit. Any negatives they bring, we will all deal with it. We're no longer just little agricultural Franklin Township. All right. So thanks for that. That was helpful. The authority the authority, it's like you said, I think that's the best way to look at it. It's a utility. So it's a separate entity. It's going to manage it all. It's going to manage the budget. It's going to hire. They talk about hiring a fire chief. And I made a comment and I had a really good response. Like, why would we care who hired the fire chief? And Dave Connor said it makes a big difference. If the fire chief is working for the authority, his perspective in terms of how things are working and who he has to listen to, which would be the board, is going to be different if the fire chief is hired by the fire company. So the proposal would be that the authority would hire the fire chief. And as we said before, public meetings are required for rate hikes. The con is that we just don't know the cost. So paid staff will be required to run the authority. There's also legal fees that are going to be, this could take a year to make happen. So legal fees are involved, I think, and we just got to take it all in line. Assets are going to, and I don't know if this has to be, but they talk about assets being owned and managed by the authority. We talked about residents receiving a separate bill, so it all depends how you look at it. It's no longer tax deductible, so that would be the only con. I don't know how strong a resident will feel if they get a separate bill or not. I think what would probably annoy me the most is that it's going to keep on going up, but so would your taxes. And then the representatives of municipalities, we don't have that direct control. We're still in there, right? We're still going to be part of some kind of board, but it's not like the residents can come in and look at us and say, why did you do this? Because our answer would be, well, we're part of a group of 10. All right, so I'm just gonna stop here just for a second, just see if there's any questions from the board I'm just wondering, I don't know if have you worked with authorities or commissions? I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any, maybe I misstated something in basic understanding?
I don't think you've misstated anything. I've sort of followed this conversation over the course of the last 6 months, and what folks seem to be struggling with is, what is the municipal form going to look like once the townships come together? And in my view, whenever you form an authority or a cog I call a council of governments, or a joint venture of municipalities, usually you need a solicitor for them. You need consultants for them that can be free of any conflicts, things of that nature. And so you're basically layering another level of government for all the good that this particular service does for everyone all over Pennsylvania, all over the country. But you're talking about another entity, which may or may not have a budget that it controls, as opposed to being controlled by the forming entities. I know that in certain situations, the budgets are formed by, or at least in large part, directed by the component townships. But it's a difficult. It's going to require it's going to require another level of government, with people who are in charge, either most likely appointed from the membership, just like water authorities or sewer authorities. And you're hitting on all the right topics.
That's really the concern that I have is, okay, we may get extra money coming in because we can charge fees to certain bodies that we haven't charged fees before. But when you talk about solicitor and consultants and whatever, I mean, 100,000 here, 100,000 there. I mean, it can be a $500,000 before you know it, if not more.
I have no personal experience with fire companies running this way, so I can't give you.
We can't find any. Yeah, yes.
I have seen certain economies of scale where you get municipal police forces that create a regional police force, because now there's only one chief, now there's only 3 lieutenants, now, and so you get some economies of scale. But I don't know how that works with this, so I don't want to be judgmental in any way.
If I did ask that question about, okay, well, how much money are we saving by consolidating? None, because and remember, they do a great job, right? They do a lot of this stuff is volunteers, and so if you had 2 volunteers and now you bring them together, you still have 2 volunteers, right? So, they don't, my understanding is the fire chief doesn't currently get paid. He's a volunteer. Like, it's not their fault. It's just that if you had volunteers and now you're going to pay, you're going to have to pay more, right? Because you didn't pay in the first place. So it is more about efficiency, they said, as opposed to saving money. But
Well, Donna, I had the same First, I'd like to thank you and Tia for going to these meetings for the last few months. Saves, we don't have to go, the rest of the board, and I know it takes a lot of nights away from you. So thanks for doing that. And I know that they're due to give like a preliminary budget by May or June, they said. I don't know if they're on track for that or not, but my question was just what you and Guy were just talking about is, all we keep hearing about is the increase, the increase, the increase. But isn't there some synergy when corporations, combine, there's synergies, there's like capital assets, right? Do they have to buy the same amount of trucks? There's not, I mean, isn't there in close proximity? Isn't there like, there's not a fire every hour that you need.
Saying that they're keeping all the firehouses open, they're keeping they're all the
Yeah.
equipment.
Because of how spread out the 10 municipalities are, they're not going to close any of the firehouses. They all work tightly together at this point anyway, when they go out on calls.
Okay.
And so all they're going to do is merge their assets, right? And one of the problems is right now, Avondale uses certain safety equipment that's a different brand than what West Grove uses. So when they merge, somebody needs to get new equipment so that all the equipment matches.
Right.
So you've got those kind of costs. And they're not getting rid of any trucks. All the trucks are gonna stay painted the way they are initially. They're not gonna repaint them or do anything like that because that costs money. But they're not selling any trucks. They need what they have.
Understood. How about like administrative costs, like payroll and,
So they're getting-
software,
They're not getting rid of, because they're not closing any of the firehouses. All of the administrative costs and all the computer work and like everything all stays the same. They're not changing anything. It's basically just now we're one fire company instead of two, but all the people that work at Avondale stay at Avondale. All the people that work in West Grove stay in West Grove. So they're not changing.
I agree.
It doesn't make sense, but they're not changing how that works. So there's a fire chief. Now there's two fire chiefs and they're working together.
No, it doesn't mean that once we get our hands on the budget that we can't start
Right.
asking these questions. But
Yeah, I was just
but the
asking if it's
plans are
been
not.
discussed yet, and it has, but they're saying no.
Next slide. As we were doing this, I kept on thinking to myself, what do the fire companies think? Like, what are they, we're not, because they're not at the fire companies aren't at the meetings. So we're just curious, what are the fire companies? And we've had, Guy Swift here before. So I sent an email, to Guy and I asked 3 questions. And I got, a letter back that is in your books from both Neil Vaughn, who is the fire chief for West Grove, and for Guy Swift. And so you see it up here on the screen. The first one I asked them, what governance model are you more comfortable with? And they came back with a resounding, we want the authority model. And I think it has to do because they talk about stability. It's about stability, knowing that they have that finance coming in. So that was the first one. Good to know, right? It's good to know that. The second one I asked was, okay, Guy, when he was with us, talked about giving us a budget. Back to your point, Jim, in mid-year, and where are we at with this? And they came back that they're on track to give us something in May or June. Just among us, they did make a comment, and I would take it as a comment that they're looking at a 10% increase. And what I don't understand, and Auntie, I don't know if you've got any sense, are they saying 10% is a nice number and then we will go back and fix it so it works? Or did they really do that in-depth analysis that all the questions you guys just asked and said, we need 10%? And I don't know if you had a sense.
So the sense that I got is that the 2 fire chiefs, Neil and Guy, have come together with whoever volunteers to help them with their finances. They went over the budgets and I don't know if they're guessing. I don't know that they have a distinct feel that they know that they need that 10%. They're just going to throw that out there because that's what we did this past year and they know costs are going up. I'm not sure that they have a line by line budget. I don't feel, I could be wrong and I hope I'm wrong, but I don't get the sense that there's going to be a budget like Melissa produces for us.
So we asked for it, and we're going to find out soon enough. But that's why the status quo doesn't work, right?
Right.
Because we're not getting what we necessarily want. But we're not giving up. We'll still ask, and we have a chance to get those questions answered. The other question that kept on coming up, and I thought I knew the answer, and then when the municipalities talked, I realized nobody knew the answer, and that is how are we being charged? How is the rate determined in terms of how much we pay for fire service and how much we pay for EMS service? And the interesting thing is Avondale I didn't make this stuff up. So I got this. This was in the letter. You guys have it in your book. I mean, it was an email that they gave me this information. That Avondale does it one way. And the way Avondale does it is fire is 1/3 call volume, 1/3 population, 1/3 assessed value. And EMS is a half call volume and a half population. Okay. And this is not what you agreed, John. This is a little bit different from what you guys agreed. The second one, and I don't even understand it, is the West Curve Fire Company. The fire is based on assessed value and a calculated millage amount based off of budget figures. I'm not quite sure what that means, but assessed value is in there. What I'm not seeing is call volume for fire. So but for EMS is the way that John and was when you were there, agreed. Oh, you better get John, yeah. For EMS? Right. Right. So for some reason, somehow fire for Avondale does use coal. So I don't know how these things developed over time. But this would be something that we would look at if, depending on what we go. But this is what they told me, this is how they do it. So they each do it a little bit differently. EMS does take into account coal volume. West Cove Grove doesn't seem to do that for fire.
Bigger municipalities, remember. The bigger municipalities, you have to remember, like, New Garden that has Route 40 running through it and, or Route 7 coming through, they're paying. And if we did the authority model, everyone would be paying for any time there's a car accident. They're not billing the person who had the car accident. That cost goes back to the municipalities. It doesn't get charged to the person's insurance. They have no way of really billing the insurance companies. So anytime there's car accidents or things of that nature that aren't resident driven, the residents and the municipalities are eating that cost.
I go to the
They
next.
have- I'm sorry,
okay.
do they have,
Okay.
on the assessed value, are there exclusions like schools and churches?
So if right now, if you're not paying real estate tax, which would be churches and schools and things of that, and nonprofits, if you're not paying real estate tax, you're not paying anything to the fire company.
Why am I doing this, right? So I don't want any resident or board member to wake up one day and have a bill appear in their mailbox and say, how did this happen? So I just want to continually bring this stuff to your attention, get feedback from the board, get feedback from the residents in public comments or however you want to give it to us, so that you're aware what's going on. And knowing that we are getting together as a bunch of municipalities, we meet. We saw the meeting structure. I think our next time, June and maybe July will be, might be postponed to July, but probably sometime in the summer we'll have another meeting. But I want you to be aware of what's being discussed. I want you to be aware of what the governance models are. And Tia and I get more involved in terms of what the more detail, we'll share it with you and continue to develop the pros and cons. Okay, one more slide. So I just want to go to the backup slide, Jeff, and then one more. Just to remind everybody, who are the 10 municipalities that are involved? So the slide tells you what percent of the population that's being served by the fire companies is these particular municipalities are, and then who serves them. And you can see for us, we get both fire companies are servicing us. But as you said, Auntie, they kind of go back and forth anyways. They cover for each other. All right. In your book, you had the actual letter from the fire company. And then you also had a transitional committee update from them. And that's where it's the fourth bullet point down that they said that the Budget and Finance Committee is working on a 2027 budget. They met on May 11th to finalize budget details. And, it wouldn't hurt. I could just send a quick email, a copy you wanted to you, just say, how you making out? Where's that budget? We're anxious to see it. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. I know we'd like to do public comments at the end, but did any residents, anyone here have any questions or comments on what I said? John, do you have questions? Making my own rules, but I. Fire companies, right, John?
Okay, first of all, I think the board did an excellent job of laying this thing out here in detail. I think that's really important to the public. I think Guy touched on it, and I'll kind of simplify it, is the related to administrative costs. Because right now you have, when you look at the combined administrative cost that's being expended right now, all the townships have some administrative costs managing it, and the fire companies have their own administrative costs. Most of that won't go away. But with the authority model, you're going to pick up a significant level of administrative costs because you're going to need some high-paid employees to do this thing. You'll need an accountant, of course, then the fire company, the fire chief, and some legal advice and a bunch of other. I see a fairly significant administrative costs as a result of the authority. The other item that is related to educating the residents about how they pay for fire service. And we alluded to it, but I think most people do not understand how they pay for fire service right now or how much, the quantity of it. And I think you need to lay that out to them quantitatively, how they do that. Because the fire company gets essentially three sources of income. They get the township taxes, which are probably the biggest component. They do a fundraising contribution letter, which we all get in the mail, and people do contribute there. And then they have other fundraising things, spaghetti dinners and chicken dinners and things like that. But I think what it would be helpful if the township residents could see how much the residents are paying right now by township. Because the township, I think Franklin's about 350,000. So I think the magnitude of those numbers would be important because I don't think people understand how much this actually costs. And if you don't do that, when this authority model, if it eventually develops, and they get an invoice for $150 or $200 a year, they're going to say, what's going on here? We're not paying anything like that.
What's the best way to do that? On the website, send another letter,
Let me put together a structure and we could look at it. Oh, do it on the website here. Because apparently the current group doesn't want to go public in the meetings. And they're asking the townships to put it out to the public, which you're doing right now, a first-class job. One other point that Jim touched on, that why you only have 2 representatives there, 2 supervisors? You can't have more than 2, and you can't have a quorum in one of those meetings, or it would be forced into public. So that's probably why they set it up that way. Those are my thoughts. I think it's really important that the residents understand how they're paying right now and what the magnitude it is of it. So when the change comes, they got at least know that it's expensive. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Nice job.
Anybody else? Okay. Good.
So many notes. Paul, are you prepared to do your historical commission and HARB review board?
Thank you. I didn't print this out, so I'm looking at my phone, so you have to bear with me. So we did not meet, but there are a few minor updates. The work is ongoing at the Churchill Cemetery. We've got to thank you. We've got to do some stump cleanup, and we're expanding the brush cleanup so that we have more areas that are open than already are. And we've taken to making special focus on certain kinds of invasives. So we're basically attempting to get rid of this year's crop of garlic mustard. It will probably take a couple of years before it's a minor issue, but that I think we've done a pretty good job on that. So I'm hoping that next year I expect to see the same amount, and then because it's a biennial, I expect to see some drop off after that. And then we're also in the fall going to focus on Japanese stilt grass, which is a fall cleanup thing. And we basically have to go out there, probably a mix of hand pulling and weed whacking, because I don't want to get a weed whacker next to a headstone. Then the Mason-Dixon Art Corner Coordinating Committee, basically I've covered all the bases with the various historical commissions, and I'm hoping to talk to the Elk Supervisors at their next meeting. If that can't be arranged, it'll probably be August when I can do it, because it's going to fall around the 4th of July, and that's going to be a little difficult. But that's where that stands, and it's not a rush, so I'm not particularly worried about having it happen this month or next. And then we had a talk last night in New London. David McCain, who is a descendant of Thomas McCain, spoke about Thomas McCain and some of, how he came to write the book and that sort of thing. It was a well-received talk. We had about 50 people, which is beginning to, I remember the days when we would range between 20 and 30, and we seem to be consistently hitting 50 for whatever reason. I'm happy to see it. I'm not complaining. And so, I really have no idea. I mean, and May is actually historically a more poorly attended meeting for us for some obvious reasons. It's light outside. It's nice outside. People have things to do. Right. Exactly. So, but we got a really good turnout, which is nice because, he was a little bit of a step up from us, having worked in the State Department and on congressional staffs, and having been for a year ambassador to Luxembourg. And what?
Was it recorded?
No, unfortunately it's not recorded, but Karen Marshall, who could not make it and is involved with the Kennett Township Historical Commission, had expressed before the meeting, how disappointed she was she could make it. And I said, well, you could always invite him yourself. So he may be in the area. I'll have to see what Karen has to say. But yeah, basically the chairwoman of the New London Area Historical Society was unable to attend for personal reasons, which is kind of a shame. And then in the fall, we're going to have Bruce Maude back to speak on the soldiers, not the generals of the revolution. And the title of that program is Common Soldier, Uncommon Soldier. And that will be the 3rd Tuesday of September. And since I didn't put the date in my notes here, and I can't envision a calendar in my head, I can tell you what it is without telling you the date, but it'll be a subject of discussion before it comes around. But we're sort of off for the summer. We have 2 meetings in, we go September, November, and then March and May. And the only other thing to note is that David McCain is the costs are being picked up by the Franklin Township Historical Commission. So once I get an address for him, I'll be sending some information along. So that's it. Are there any questions?
You making a comment about now you're starting to see more people come up. You have some really interesting topics. I think you should be commended for the.
Well, David McCain was a shot in the dark. I mean, I just figured out his email, and it's Franklin and New London. It's 250 years after 1776. McCain was B list, but he was very high B list among the people who were involved. And he was, of all the people in Congress, the only one to actually serve in the military. So he was educated in New London. He was actually born in New London, except that part of New London is now Franklin. And so it's a, you know, people around here are very interested in him. It's a, you know, it's a local topic. But other topics have done really, really well. I mean, we've been more crowded for various other topics, and we just,
And Bruce Malday's books are going crazy.
Yeah.
He's doing great too, so he should be very popular.
yeah, no, he's a very he's very at ease when he talks. So he can just get up there. He doesn't usually talk from notes. I don't think I could do that, but he's an ex-reporter, so that makes a big difference. And yeah, and we've been very, very successful, which is nice to see. And it's not, in all honesty, like we're putting in a whole lot more effort. We've just, I think maybe people are getting used to the idea there'll be something that they could come and listen to.
Now we're going to the most important thing on the whole agenda. Go ahead, go get them, Nancy.
We'll try.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere, right? No, you're part of this.
Oh, you're hanging around for this yay paw. I should. So this is the budget that we started with. It was a rough budget. The good news that we have to share tonight is that we'd applied for a $500 grant from the Colonial Pipeline Company. I noticed it because as you drive to Crossan Park, on the left, you can see Colonial Pipeline has this sign and a big pipe. So I read them a nice letter and asked them for $500, and we heard today we got $1,000. So we're doing well with bringing money in to help fund this activity. I wanted to do just a quick look at the layout, Jeff. I think it's termed schema. That's a document.
Maybe, does does the board member have any comments on the budget? Yeah.
Looks like we're at zero cost, or actually,
Oh, you're in there for 100. Township's in for $100, which is pretty nominal, and we may not need it. If we have other grant funds, we will cover it from that first. But my first thought was things like postage.
but is Colonial Pipeline not on here yet?
No, we just learned today, and this had to be in before that, so that's an update.
Good. That's great.
That's it, Jeff. This is my very crude attempt to make it easy to see where things are going to be. Paul had done a map, but it was hard to see when put up. So if we go from the brick facility, which has the lavatories and utility room and all that, the food vendors would be just behind that where they've been previously. The plant swap will be the first thing people see when they come in. It'll be on the right where it's been previously. And I made the tours at the garden. In terms of the first activity, we'd go to Pavilion 1, which is over here on the right. And that is generally what we refer to as a children's table area, but that is where children will take their bikes and their trikes and their parents and decorate themselves with temporary tattoos in red, white, and blue and get ready for the parade, which will be to marching band music. And the parade route is the black, ugly line that goes around from the pavilion back up the hill and ends at the brick facility. There's that nice big flat space where we hope the crowd will gather. The stage will be a 1-foot high, 14 by 20 riser with a nice cloth over it, I hope, or something. And
No, it'll be modeled for.
4x8. Oh, I thought it was 4x8s. Okay, 4x6s. Okay.
It's kind of sizable.
Okay, I'm getting those costed out.
8x6.
Oh, yes, here's. I'm
Sorry. And not on the mic.
Stage will just be low. It's only going to be a 1 foot, just enough to get, Bob's band has been committed. So we're excited about that.
Now, don't you mean the tennis courts? Don't you mean that's the pickleball court?
Well, it might be.
Yeah,
I'm
that-
sorry.
That's okay. I
Okay.
just want to make.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
that's the pickleball court, because
That's it.
that would confuse people.
Yeah, I'm usually confused. So we would.
Nancy, you have a question?
Yes, Tia.
Are you renting a stage?
Yes. We'll be having it brought in, set up, picked up, taken away. So I'm getting costs on those.
So is it in your, it's not in your expenses yet, right?
It's not, because we don't have an expensive breaking out yet.
Okay.
We just did that was a general grant request budget that we were beginning to work from. So what we're doing now is keeping expenses against income, and we're fleshing out that budget.
Is there anything else on the budget from expenses that you didn't include? Like, for example, like the stages, is there any? Because like, this is nice because it all bounces off, but maybe.
Well, this is basically going to be it. I think that those are in the ballpark for each one of them.
Okay.
Except for the stage. Except.
Well, and the stage isn't in there, but we have gotten more money.
So my question to you, is there anything else like the stage that you have, just because when this was put together, maybe you didn't know about it?
We
Is there?
did not.
No, but is there anything else?
Not that I know of,
Okay,
no.
right, okay.
All the things that
That's my
I've
answer.
been listing as expenses, and I've been trying to put together our vendors for Melissa, so she'll know who, trying to keep it to a minimum, who we'll be using. That's right.
That's the stage.
So the stage will first be used for the Dare to Declare. So we'll have the children's parade, the Dare to Declare to the crowd that's gathered there in that big area that's flat, just out in front of the brick facility. There'll be hangings, like a huge Declaration of Independence and some nice buntings to make it look very festive, and give, Paula's working with the high school and Ms.
Shannon Lynch, and it's
Shannon.
not
Lynn.
the high school. It's her own business organization. And so we've emailed back and forth, and I need to basically follow up because she was busy with a production of Shrek. And so we need to sit down and flesh it all out. But I'm hoping to get that started this week.
Great. And so we'll have young people from our community to do the reading of the Declaration of Independence. And then the focus of the event will move to the wish wall, which will be on this side of the baseball
Backstop.
backstop. Thank you. And you, a couple of you had asked about the wish wall. There is a page in your book that is pretty simple. It's a national event-based thing, and
He has it up.
oh, thank you, Jeff. That fast. There are postcards that we'll receive, I think at no cost, and if not, it'll be minimal cost. We'll go with the 5x7s or the 4x6s, one or the other. And the idea is that, having heard the Dare to Declare and the reading of Declaration of Independence. People will be invited up by Ben Franklin, one of whom we have, and one is calling back. The one with the experiments at the booth is the one I'm waiting to hear back from. But they will invite people to come up and sign one of 3 copies of the Declaration of Independence that Paul has produced. Might be over there on the printer, so that people will feel really part of this event. And hopefully support the values and the principles on which our country was founded. So the wish wall will be for birthday wishes to our country. And we'll put those up as they're done. There will be a card display that Paul's working with folk on.
Yeah.
And that's been confirmed.
Yeah, so Lou Mandich is putting that together, and I'm working with Lou.
So then the vendors will be lined up, back to the schema, Jeff, please. Not hard to figure, but along the baselines, the first and third baselines.
Yeah, they'll actually also they'll be on the perimeter, the infield as they were last time, basically circling the entire diamond.
And the booths will, since I thought they went the other way, the booths will face out from the center of the field out. So people will walk along the fence line.
Right, and so we are looking at actually increasing the number of booths by increasing the perimeter by moving about 50 feet into the outfield, so that if you basically create a larger perimeter, there's more space for booths.
And you were hoping for what, maybe 10 that will be no fee?
So there's going to be around 10 or so. We're going to start with contacting the people who were part of the event last time before we contact anyone who wasn't there. Because we have additional information from London, Britain, but we want to give the first opportunity for the people who were there previously. And then
24.
if there's room for an additional mailing, we would like to do an additional mailing later. We're asking people to get back to us by the middle of July so that there will be time to work in an additional mailing on a first come, first served basis for anybody who wants to sign off after we have a good sense of people who are already committed. Looking at the ball field, the way Stacy told me how she estimated it, and I realized it was genius, and that's when it hit me. I could expand the perimeter and just make essentially a slightly larger circle without going very far into away from, because we were set up against the infield last time. So we moved just 50 feet out. That allows for 10 to 12 more booths, which will allow, basically what it's going to support is a greater nonprofit presence.
Maybe 10 of those and about 40.
Well, no, we have to, the other because it's not purely vendors, there is also the opportunity for sponsors to have a booth. And so we have to balance those 3 groups to make sure that we have enough space for all of them, which is why we're not going out to a larger group of vendors. Initially, we're going to go out to the people who've worked with us before, which simply seems to be the right thing to do as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And I think we also have confirmed the fire muster for Neil Vaughn and Guy Swift are both all in on that. They will have their equipment. We'll work with Jeff and pray for some dry weather ahead of the 12th of September when this event will be held, so that they'll be able to get some of their equipment up on left field, as it were, further out. And then they'll be doing the skill-based competitions. That'll go on around 2:00. And Jim has helped us out by contacting Brandywine Septic so that we've taken care of our sanitary needs, 4 porta potties and 2 hand wash stations. Yes, thank you very much. And then we can move to I went for a simpler timetable, which Donna had asked about. It would be the next page in your books. And there it is. So if anybody has questions on that, if it's the same thing you've been seeing, but just in a simpler format.
So I do have a question, and maybe I'm like, are we, like, when I think of an event, you kind of, you lead to like the closing. So do you see the fire muster, is that's gonna be?
That's the
it's gonna-
wrap up.
It's gonna have enough excitement and, yeah, okay, yeah, I've never done one.
It's a
So I
lot
was
of fun.
Okay, so that's kind of what, that's what we're leading to. I didn't know whether the Ben Franklin lookalike contest winner would be
Has that
something
been
that
there?
would part of the fire muster, or, I mean, I don't know whether that, like, why would I stay around, I guess is my.
That may be the last thing we do. I don't know.
So, yeah, we're gonna we may have to tweak this to reduce some items. Because we do have to get the timing right, and it's possible. One of the things that we talked about briefly, and we really haven't resolved this yet, is I don't want to create a situation where, for example, we have the reading of the Declaration of Independence. I'm a little concerned that if we do the signing right away, the community signing right away, that's going to create a situation in which it's very hard to transition on the same stage to the dedication, because we're going to essentially, we have the danger. We are, but we're going to be pushing the crowd away from the next event, I think, maybe.
Left and right of the stage, maybe another one back for Donna. And that way, when the Veteran Memorial dedication comes up on the stage,
Yeah.
following the reading, people will be able to listen to that and sign. I mean, not everybody's gonna be signing, but not everyone would be signing. I'm so sorry. I'm still new at this. I'm learning. I think that the tables for signing, the 3 copies that we'll have will be offset, so that the stage then would be clear for the Veterans Memorial dedication.
So the signing of the declaration, that's not, like, like I said,
That's Act One.
That's pretty important, like, that's a
It is.
biggie.
That's Act One.
Okay, but it's not like the act, so it's just kind of like, we're there, and I'm sure you guys thought this all out, but I'm gonna want to stay around because I want to get to this fire muster thing, that's the kind
And
of.
that's 2
Yeah.
o'clock.
Okay.
That's why people are gonna hang around.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So we.
what you have to envision is that in terms of organized events that are directed toward an audience, they will initially take place up by the brick building, what we're calling the stage area. After that, there will be music, but that'll be something you can come and do and stay. And then, what I will hope has happened is that people will move on toward the vendors more after that.
After the
And-
dedication of the memorial.
Right, exactly. And so then the last thing is going to be just beyond the vendors. So we got plenty of people down there. It will have some flow, and, but we will still have something of an issue of making sure that people are aware of what's happening at certain times.
So will Ben Franklin be there? I remember at the Fall Festival, you had this guy saying, okay, we're doing this now, we're doing that now. So
We're
is
gonna
that-
use
that's a
Ben
good-
Frank.
So
Ben will be
so Ben Franklin will be directing, okay, now let's go to the stage.
There won't
Now
be
let's
so
go-
much of that, but for those discrete activities, yes. Yeah, we'll aim to move the crowd.
So what I'm hearing is Bob Magnus's band isn't drawing the crowd.
Oh.
Bob's not listening, right? No, all I mean by that is that it's not the kind of thing that we're going to be doing where we really want the crowd to absolutely have to stay there. What I'm suggesting is that music is something you can decide to enjoy. You can decide to go to the vendors. But when you make those choices, you're not missing out on one of the highlight events of the day. And so the important thing is that the initial reading and dedication occur before the band starts. And then you've got the band and you've got the vendors. And then, the fire muster is further down, and, really that's the point at which we sort of need to get Ben Franklin, or it could be a member of the band, back up on the stage and just simply direct everyone's attention down toward the fire muster.
1, 2. Eyes winning.
Yeah, assuming we have, as I've learned with historical event, you need live bodies. So I'm hoping, someone, if somebody might win by default, if you've only got one bidder, if you've only got one Ben Franklin lookalike, the decisions are not very difficult. So one of the things we talked about is maybe some sort of prize of some sort, so that there's at least a minor incentive to leaving your Ben Franklin costume in the car, not wearing it all day, and getting dressed and coming down for the lookalike contest. Yeah, I mean, we have to figure it out, and it depends on what's available in the budget.
You. The hayride is on pause. Unfortunately, the Hocking family wasn't able to make that with their schedule. But we are looking at others. And I had hoped to hear back today from one of them, but so I'll know next week. But for now, we might want to take them off the sponsors letter.
That's on hold.
I mean, we'll have one. It's just who's going to do it.
Well, and Nancy, the hayride, it's more complicated than you think because the hay wagon, we had to get a special steps for the hay wagon before. It's not easy to get, you have to have, if you've ever been to Melbourne, you have to have special steps to get on it. But who did the pumpkins before? The Girl Scouts, didn't they?
They did, and Lytle's Farm provided them. They were purchased through the budget, the pumpkins. It was $800. No, it was $800. It was in the budget. It was
Lytle?
800.
He's a supervisor in Huntington Road in New London Township.
Yeah, we purchased the pumpkins. And I believe it was from the place that you were talking about, the produce place.
And wasn't there a Girl Scout troop that did so you got them?
And we would aim, once we're clear on getting the hayride set up,
Gotcha.
we'll go for the Girl Scout troop and have them do the similar activities. You know, the
Gotcha.
tattoos, and paints on the pumpkins, because it was very popular.
So that's the
Yes.
question, if you don't, let's assume we don't have a hayride. Would you still do the pumpkins? You could still do the pumpkins, or does it not work? Just a question.
With the pavilion.
Open to, you could, yeah, I mean, if you all are interested in that and we don't end up with the hayride, we could sure do that.
I just thought, it looked like it was very popular. And
Yes.
some really nice, and it is September, right? And we're getting ready for, the fall. Something to think about. I mean, work your budget, but what do you think? The pumpkin?
Did you mention the cars?
We did.
Okay, I missed it.
Briefly.
Okay, yeah, okay. It went by me.
Yeah, I've also talked to Bob Magnus about having maybe a few more recent cars there as well, but we're thinking really it's not going to be very large, something like 6 cars, something like that. We have to get them lined up first, but for now, for example, if it's just Lou, we're probably looking at 4 to 5. Because it would be Lou, and Lou usually has a friend of his, and he's usually doing it with the John Lawrences as well. I'm kind of really hoping that we can get Representative Lawrence to show up with his mail truck, because that was a big hit.
Okay. So any questions from the board?
Nancy, are you gonna stick with this timetable? Can you just take the herbs and the seeds and just change that? Yeah.
What I would like to do, I just want to make sure the folks in the audience know that this is something I would not normally do or suggest that we do. But we're kind of running a time limit where we got to get these letters out. And I know some of the board members you're going to take over, right? Some of the board members had some comments on the letter. So I think if we can look at the local business owner letter, right? This is the sponsor letter too, as our master letter. And so when other letters are being written, we can use the way certain things are phrased. And I know I can go pretty crazy. I can get, it's like there's certain ways I think we should agree to say something, and we just consistently do that. And as I go through some comments, and I know everybody has their own comments, I'll try to see if we can make some agreement in terms of how do we say certain things. But I thought that what we could do, like I said, I wouldn't normally do this, is with Stacy's help, we feed our comments into Stacy right now. We get that incorporated into this letter. Then she makes it a PDF and presses a magic button or whatever you do. So we have a letter to sign. Okay. And so we're going to do it on the screen. I really can't see but I don't need to say, you'll know what to do.
Zoom it so we could see.
Yeah, Stacy has it.
Sorry.
Okay. But I just want to start with maybe just two, well, I'm going to go paragraph by paragraph, but I want to agree on maybe three basic concepts. One, the name of this is the America's 250th anniversary celebration.
It is now because we ran into copyright issues.
So anytime, just so.
It's
like-
long, but it's.
No, I just, so that we're not calling it an event, we're calling it, when we use this title, it's America's 250th anniversary celebration. So that's the word we're going to use. Okay. And then when we talk about Paul, we're going to call you the event co-chair. Is that okay? Event co-chair. Instead of saying Mr. Paul Lagasse 40 times, can we just say event co-chair Paul Lagasse? Is that all right, Paul? Right. And then my question to you would be, do I say contact, do you want the email address first? Or do you want the phone number first? Because we're just consistent. There's like 5 different places that we say this, and it'd be nice if we just did it consistently. So, go ahead.
Clinton Township.
Great.
Event planning or event.
Wherever that address is going to be.
Right.
That email first.
Right.
But I have no trouble, with anyone calling me.
Right.
And I want them to be able to call a person, if they want to talk to
Right. So we'll get to it, but so we'll use a phrase. It's about 5 different times. We'll say contact event co-chair Paul Lagasse at Franklin Township Events gmail.com or at your phone number. Okay. So that's just there's some basic principles. And now, I don't know, Nancy, if you want to start with your comments. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just didn't catch that.
No, I'm sorry. We'll start from the top. So I have what I need, but so Stacy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to rush you. We're going to start now at the top and then we'll go through everything. Okay, so
She just missed removing Mr.
okay, well, no.
Yeah.
Do you want to go? You want to start or?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so let's, before I go into detail, Jim, I thought you had a comment about maybe we're putting too much in terms of the list. Is there something you want to talk about?
List of activities, you mean?
Yes.
Now that I look at it, it seems like it's pretty laid out.
Okay.
Well, I'm okay.
And if we take out fire.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get started and then, we'll go line by line. And Stacy, you slow me down. So I'm on the first paragraph, 3rd line. Okay, so we're going to say September 12th, 2026 from 11 a.m. and it's a small a.m.
Yeah, so it should be a small a period, small m period is the technical way to do it.
Actually,
I'm going off of the AP style book, so.
so you can do it small, you can do it large with periods and large without periods. It's personal preference. Small with periods, large with periods, or large without periods.
Could you live with small without periods? Because it's throughout the rest of the document.
That's fine. I'm just going off the AP style book. That's all.
It's an easy
It's not a
fix.
big
It's a
deal.
global search in place.
Okay, yeah, but I want to get this letter done. So make it September 12th, 2026 from 11 a.m. small a, small m to 3 o'clock p.m. small p, small m at Crossan Park, 91 Parsons Road, Landenberg, Pennsylvania. So that's the first paragraph. Anybody else? Okay.
I didn't know if it made sense to just kick Franklin down to the next line since you've got the colon there. It doesn't matter that much, but I didn't know if it took up more room, if you kicked it down to the next line.
But no space, right? Did you want, space, did you?
I mean, is this sort of standout?
Instead
I
of
mean, it's,
community event, and then immediately start Franklin, if you knock it down to the next line, it kind of makes the Franklin Township's America's 250th stand out better. Yeah.
Okay.
well, I mean, you can also frankly flip it.
Now, let's not go
Just-
crazy now.
No, but I'm just saying, you
To
can,
make it stand out better, that's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, you're taking out, you're just making it, you're taking out everything that says
You're
to
just-
take part in, and you're killing joyful, meaningful community event, correct?
I'm not taking any of that out. I'm just taking the word.
And the second line starts as Stacy.
Yes,
has
yes.
already done it.
Maybe you sit with her, you want to sit with her?
No, it's just like, all right, it's, the problem is I have a printout that doesn't line up like that, and I'm trying to look at that at the same time.
Okay,
I've got a vent down on the next line.
okay,
That's-
all right. All right, so we're gonna go,
It's my printout.
okay, so then we go to, the building. I don't have any comments on that paragraph. Except, do you need a space between the paragraph and the bullet points, or do you just do the bullet? I don't think
It's
it's,
just the
Yeah.
automatic style.
Okay, you're not-
Yeah.
okay.
You mean a line space?
yeah, I don't
I
know.
would do a line space person.
Then good. You would or you wouldn't?
I would.
Good. No.
No, but you have a line space.
You have a line space there. He's saying,
He's saying keep it the way it
keep
is.
it the way it is.
Okay, good. Okay, so I think you made a comment, you don't have semicolons?
You don't need the semicolons in a list. I mean, that's just again.
We take out the Hayrides line.
Right, take out the haywire and can we consider getting rid of the semicolons, Paul?
You can do this half a dozen different ways. I don't really. You can do it
I don't
with periods, you can do it with nothing.
Yeah, I think it clear with
You can do
nothing.
it with semicolons, so it's a consistent thing.
That's
You know, like it's a layered list.
Yeah, I would just get rid of the semicolons.
Okay.
And then I would get rid of, okay, and get rid of the word and in the second to the last bullet point. Just make it a list. Oh,
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. The terminal ends
Do you want
is what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what holds it together.
all right, so,
No, but if you're gonna do it without semicolons, then it's just a list. That's all. You don't need the end.
right,
That's what comes.
okay, so we brought up, so do we, I'm sorry, I can't see what's up there.
In the pumpkin patch.
A pumpkin patch where, okay, a pumpkin patch where children can choose their own and decorate it. That, so,
There you go.
yeah,
Can we say choose and decorate their own pumpkins?
It does say, it's fine.
It says- so a pumpkin, yeah, just read, a pumpkin. I think that's
And
good.
decorate.
Yeah.
No, it should
The kids
say
love this.
they're-
It says
choose
their own.
and decorate
Their
their
own
own pumpkin.
Choose their own.
That sounds better to me.
No, she was just saying choose and decorate.
Choose and decorate.
That's like.
Yeah,
choose-
she's already,
Choose and decorate because you don't want to end
yeah, she got,
it.
okay, good catch, Dawn. Their own pumpkin. We good? All right. Paul, I'm counting on you to look at over her shoulder, make sure you're happy with it, because I can't see,
So
yeah.
I just want Stacy to take out the period after vendors too. We're not punctuating anything that way.
Good, that's why you're there, stay there, okay? Paul, you let me know when we can move on.
You can, I'm good.
Okay, I had no comments on the next paragraph where we all agree that it's America's 250th anniversary celebration.
Our last fall festival, because this isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it's
there.
awkward.
This isn't a fall festival, right?
Right.
So you don't want to call it our last festival.
Festival.
Correct,
Why don't we say
yes.
the Last festival.
That's what it says.
That's what it says.
Good.
Okay, so then, right, so now I'm gonna go to the next paragraph. Paul, you good?
Yeah.
To help with planning and to ensure your name is included in our response, Member Conley asks that your contribution made, I think it's been changed to July 30th. Okay, you got that?
We
Good.
can make it later.
If you have any questions or would like to discuss contract, please contact, this is co-chair. Is that what you had? Did you?
Event planning committee.
No, we're just gonna call them.
No, just event co-chair.
Co-chair.
Just it's fewer words.
Okay, Carol, I'll just wait you, and we're gonna get rid of where,
Mr.
yeah, so
Get rid of
just
Mr.
then co-chair Paul
Give him a
Agassi
Yeah.
at,
Unless you want the Mr.
Email.
no, we don't.
No, I just,
At the email.
sorry.
Okay, so Paul, look at it. You happy with this? Because this is,
At the email first and then the phone number.
Yeah, I would, because, frankly, I would prefer to field emails rather than phone calls.
Right, that's what we
I won't
thought.
field either.
Right.
And I want people who want to call to be able to call somebody. I think that's really important.
Okay, so I don't know what you're doing, Stacy.
She's fixing the spacing.
Okay, great, okay. Okay, so then we get down to the, and we had a space between America's 2050.
There's a
Yeah.
space there now.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, and then we go, now, come down a little bit.
Can we,
Go ahead.
can we just take out Barry? It's kind of intense.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you don't need it. That's good. That's good.
It's intense, that's all.
That's good. That's good. Now, I don't know how this signing is going to work. Like, can we fit everybody in like this? Is this the best way to set it up, or
How it was done.
it was? So,
It was
It-
on the letter we used.
You kind of just write nice and small, right?
okay. Is it too much? Okay. So you're going to take some of the space out, right?
So after sincerely, you're
Yeah.
gonna need to mix some space,
Yeah.
because otherwise the bottom doesn't
Right.
go on there.
Can you?
Well, all you really
It's been
need,
marching.
Get
so,
rid of that space.
Yeah, Stacy, yeah, go get,
Go up and get rid of that other space.
What?
I don't know what's, I'm thinking of the space between sincerely and my name. It needs to get, we need less. We need less space. Still less.
Gotta get all of the bottom part in.
Yeah, we gotta get the bottom part in.
Where is
Margins.
Oh, maybe, is it a footer? Is that what the problem is, the footer? Oh, you got rid of it.
it ought to be removed, because it's gonna send,
Page two, it's gotta be a one page.
yeah, no, it's.
That was a 2-pager because you got this here.
It's gotta come out, because
That's a
it's gonna
separate,
miss the.
separate
Back
form.
side of that
Yeah.
page.
But it goes together.
No.
Yeah, but you still have to
Again,
complete the
yeah,
bottoms on both sides, because you need the contact information.
Yeah, I agree.
One page.
That's one page, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Everybody's talking once.
Yeah,
You want it in there or not?
we want it in there. We want the footer.
No, you don't.
This thing right here.
So, look at what information is in that footer. That's the wrong phone number to contact, and the wrong email to write to. And so if a footer is retained, it has to be severely reduced, and really the only thing, people can hand deliver stuff here, but other than that.
You won. I mean, no, that's what you want. I don't mean you bringing up that.
No, but you understand
So-
why, when Melissa said that, I agree with Melissa 100%, because I noticed that and I realized it's pulling in information that's going to conflict with information that's in the text of the letter.
Eliminate,
Changed it all.
like after sincerely
A
eliminate
few spaces, yeah.
a space or two, and then you can
Drop.
have a line,
Yes.
drop down Franklin Township.
Yes.
Supervisors.
Yeah.
A line lower.
Perfect.
Better.
Okay, now we got to do the back page. Okay? No, I want to do it now. We're doing it. We're not leaving until this is done. So next page, you with me, lady, right?
I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm with you.
all right, next.
It's not with.
So Stacy, I don't know if you have to save it, and I'm still counting on you, Paul. You're looking over her shoulder, right? You're happy with this?
So
Okay, we're not.
now
go
I have
back.
to look at this, because it's easier for me I can read this. I mean, this is, I think, pretty much pulled in from the last one.
What
from
are we talking
Tuesday.
about? You happy with this, the front?
Yeah, I'm happy with,
Okay, let's go.
yeah.
So the second page, I have comments on, I'm sorry. So let's, yeah, so I do have comments, so well, comments are always changing. All right, so here, so go to the next page. So what I would do get rid of the periods, they're not sentences.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Donna, Guy is telling me that we could actually go to the final public comment and end the meeting and finish this afterwards.
So if we have the whole board talking about it, don't we have to be sunshine?
This isn't really agency business. This is, so we can, folks know we're blue booking, was what I call it. Yeah, it's you not deliberating agency business. So if you'd like to just set this aside and have public comment adjourn, and then continue the meeting.
Everybody else will probably stay. All right, so I think the public can see we're working very hard on the America 250 anniversary celebration, and we will get this sponsored letter out tomorrow. Okay, so let me move to public comments. At this time, the board welcomes public comments on anything that attendees may want to share. Commenters must share your name and whether you're a resident of the township or a non-resident taxpayer in the township. If you do not identify yourself, your comments will not be included in the official minutes. Each resident or non-resident taxpayer will have one opportunity to make a public comment. Comments should be directed to the board and not individual board members or members of the staff. The board will refrain from addressing your comments as they are being expressed, but instead, at their discretion, may comment at the end of the public comment section. Our silence should not be viewed as an agreement with what is being said. Okay, so anyone have any public comments? Okay.
He's learning my hay rides.
Okay, all right.
The scout leader every time.
Oh, you got to get up there. You got to, you're making.
All right. All right. As a scout leader, every time I organized one of these hay rides and conducted it, there was some behavior characteristics that were undesirable. During the course of the ride, the scouts always threw all the hay out of the wagon, much to the horrification of the mothers that attended. So
Rides went really well.
anyway, the 250 celebration looks great. And the fact that you, Nancy, raised all that money is amazing.
Any other public comments? It's a hell of a team effort. Okay.
Anybody?
Anybody online have a public comment? I don't think there's anybody left. I scared them away. All right. I need. Okay, so let me,
steal it.
are you gonna, oh no.
Do we end the meeting?
Yes. So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 9:06, 9:07, what's the 9:06? Can I have a second? All right, so Jim's, any discussion? You have any discussion, ET?
No.
How about you, Guy? All right, motion carries, I mean,
Wait, can I just, throw in
sure,
back?
okay, you have a comment?
Yeah, no, I don't have a comment. I think that you might maybe need to make a quick decision on creating a sort of subcommittee we can interact with for quick decisions in agreement of the board.
Okay, so how do we do that? Before I adjourn the meeting? We do that before I adjourn the meeting, right?
Yeah, you haven't
Okay,
adjourned it yet.
Okay, yeah, so what I'm suggesting is that we're not gonna leave today until we get this letter done, right? And we're close, we're really close. And then I know you have letters that are gonna go out to vendors, right? And I actually have comments on that too. But I can hand those comments to either you, Paul, or to you, Nancy. Have you, this is a proposal to the board, so I'm saying aye, but you guys have to agree. And then I could hand my comments to Paul or Nancy or both of them. And then they would work on providing another copy of these vendor letters, not the sponsor letter. Sponsor letter will be done. And then what I would propose to the board, if you're okay, that Jim and I will work with Jeff and Melissa, just doing a quick. We're not going to rewrite it because it's all based on what's in the master letter, but just look for some consistency. And I think we don't need to have a meeting for it. A quick email goes out. Jim, are you okay? Don, are you okay? And then we get it back to you. You guys get it out. So it's not a board meeting discussion. It's just something quick to take a look at it, make sure we're okay. With the assumption that you guys are using what's in the master cover letter with all, this is our activities, this is what we're doing as the basis for anything that you write. If you start creating something brand new, that's, I don't know, then might have to go a little broader.
It really isn't anything brand new. It's just different wording.
Same wording, different purpose, right?
Right.
All right, so is that okay with the board? Can I get your consent that would be okay? Just try to, so we don't have to take 2 weeks to get back to you. We can get back to you pretty quickly. All right, so now what do? Now I go back to adjourn again, right? Yes. Okay, all right, now you get a chance to close track. All right, so I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, and now it's going to be at 9:08.
Second.
And two gets in there. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, 5-0. All right, great.